Oh, got him. Stage 2.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is 8-Bit Flashback, and today we're going to unbox the TurboGrafx-16 Mini, and these have finally been released in the US. There was some delays due to all the craziness happening in the world right now, but these are finally available in the US, so let's get to unboxing this thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box first. The box art is very similar to the original TurboGrafx-16, but there does seem to be some slight differences. I believe there was a picture of a kid's face originally in the corner of the box playing the game, and that does not seem to be present on the Mini version. Other than that though, it looks very, very close. There's the sides of the box. Obviously the back is quite a bit different because we have the built-in games with this. And there's some good games on here. I'm excited to try these out. Let's go ahead and open this up. Alright, let's see what's in here. Is that everything? Alright, that's everything. So we got a manual on the top here. So it tells you how to set it up and get this going, but I think most people can figure all that out without having to read the manual. Here is the controller. And these look just like the original controllers. They got the two turbo switches there with 3 different settings. 1 and 2. Select and run, and the D-pad. And the main difference with this controller is it's USB powered. The original one would have had a much different plug-in. And I was always a big fan of these controllers. I always thought they looked pretty cool. They kind of look like a futuristic Nintendo controller to me. On the side here we have a micro USB cable. And I don't think there's a wall adapter, but it's not hard to find a wall adapter to power these. Here is the TurboGrafx-16 Mini. There it is. And there's a lot of people that think the TurboGrafx-16 was kind of a weird looking console, but I really like the looks of these. I thought they were cool. The finish on this looks awesome. Got a power switch in the front, and when you turn that on, it used to go orange. Yeah, it shows a little bit of orange right there. And I also like that they added the feature where when you turn it on, the lock comes out. So when you turn on the power, it locks where the HUD card would be, even though there's not a HUD card slot. But it's a cool little feature. And it does have 2 USB controller ports, but it only comes with 1 controller. The original TurboGrafx-16 only had 1 controller port, and if you wanted to play multiplayer games, you had to buy a separate adapter to play those games. The artwork on this looks great. The texture on it looks really good too. It does have all the detail on the top here. It says channel 3 or 4. An antenna switch. This is where the plugins would have been on the original console. And as you can see, they're just on there for decoration. On the top here we have the pad. That's where it indicates the USB ports. On the back we have a little bit of artwork. And I believe this comes off, it looks like. Let's see. Okay, it looks like you pull up on this just a little bit and that slides off. So you just pull up right here and that pops right off. So on the original TurboGrafx-16, the back did come off like this so you could access the plugins. And when you pull this off, that gives you access to the HDMI port right here. And the USB power is inside here. So that's cool that this piece does come off, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all if that was just a solid piece. It wouldn't have been a big deal to me. What else we got inside the box? We got the HDMI cable. And I think that's it. Yeah, nothing else inside there. Now, as far as the size of this is called the TurboGrafx-16 Mini, and I think a better name for this would have been the TurboGrafx-16 Junior, because it's really not that mini. I believe the original console was 11 inches wide. Let's go ahead and measure this and see how wide it actually is. So this is about 9 1/4 inches wide, and the original one would only been about 11 inches, so this isn't a whole lot smaller than what the original console would have been. So unfortunately I do not have the original console to compare the actual sizes, But I do have some 3D models that are functional. They go really good with my collection now for the TurboGrafx-16. Here's a 3D model I made a long time ago. This is powered by a Raspberry Pi 3 with functional hue cards. And this is something I wish the Mini did have, is some hue cards. Even if they weren't functional, if they were just for show only, I think that'd be really cool. And that's something I might have to make for this just for display purposes. And here is my micro version of the TurboGrafx-16. So there is my family of my TurboGrafx-16s. And I also have a micro PC engine that I made a while back. This is powered by a Raspberry Pi Zero. And I have a full-size PC engine that's also 3D printed with functional hue cards. So this is the same exact size as the original PC engine. And these actually look really nice next to each other. The same size as the original hue cards. And that almost fits in there. Not quite though, it needs to be a little bit smaller. And just to let you guys know, per the manual, it does call for a 5-volt 2-amp power supply. And again, it does not come with a power supply, but you can find these pretty cheap, and you probably have one laying around your house that is compatible. So this one right here is 5-volt 2-amp, so it should work just fine. Okay, let's get everything plugged in. So the HDMI cable runs through this back piece, like so. Then plug in your HDMI cable to the console right here. So here's how the cables run. HDMI cords here, micro USB cables here, then that routes out the side and lines up with this hole right here. Then your HDMI cable goes through the hole on the back part of it right here. And we just slide this all together and it snaps back on. So we got the power cord coming out the side, HDMI coming out the back. And one thing I just noticed that's pretty cool with the controller is the cable itself is pretty long. I know with the Nintendo Classic Edition and the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, those cables were pretty short. And I think this cable is around 8 feet long, so that gives you plenty of room for gameplay. Okay, this is going to be my first time playing this. Let's power it up and see what happens. I don't know if these have any type of intro or not, but we're going to find out. Oh, I was hoping to see some sort of intro when it booted up, but that's okay. So, English. Oh, a very clean looking menu. Now, as far as the look of the menu, it looks very close to what the Super Nintendo and Nintendo Classic Edition's menu look like. You had the games in the middle with pictures of the console on the top and bottom, so it's very similar looking. And it's very smooth, going back and forth. And the artwork for the games is very cool looking. As you can see, there are CD cases, and that's what these hue cards originally came in, so that's neat that it looks like the CD cases. And we got some good games on here for sure. So let's start off with JJ and Jeff, because I have no idea what that is. Oh, that's cool. That was really neat how that hue card went up in there. Huh. Looks like he's using the restroom, huh? So I can kick and jump. Let's try the turbo buttons out. That works. Let's try the other turbo. So the turbo buttons work good. Pause. I really like the feel of this gamepad. This feels really good. And it feels really comfortable too. I mean, it's very similar to the Nintendo control pads, but they look cooler, I think. Ah! Okay, so how do I get back to the main menu here? Okay, so you push select and run at the same time, and that gets you back to a menu. From there we can save the game. So we'll save that in slot 1. Yes. Return to menu. Yes. Let's see what it's in settings first. It's got user manual. Well, that's boring. Language, we already seen that. Display settings. So we can do full screen if we want to, or we can do an overlay with the TurboGrafx Express. And that's another handheld console that I've always wanted and I still have not added to my collection. And these things are super expensive now. But I think I'm just going to stick with the display settings I have right now. Let's see, we can do a Crt filter. Wallpaper. Let's try the red one here. And menu design. CoreGrafx, PC Engine. I like the PC Engine. Okay. Credits and restore to factory settings. Alright, let's go back to the main menu. So the TurboGrafx-16 comes with 57 built-in games. We got 25 of the TurboGrafx-16 games, then we have 32 more games for the PC Engine. And to access the PC Engine games, you go down to the very right corner at the bottom, and that'll access those 32 games. But we're going to play a couple more of the TurboGrafx-16 games first. Let's try some Space Harrier. Now this is one of the few games I used to own when I did have the original TurboGrafx-16, which I bought in the, I don't know, I guess mid-90s for only 30 bucks at a pawn shop. It came with, I think, like 10 games, 2 controllers, and the console itself. I should have never got rid of that. Alright, so we made it to the first boss. See if I can make it past this guy. I got this. Come on.
Oop. Got him. Stage 2.
So this game's playing great. No issues. Let me try a game I know, that way I know if the emulation's doing good. So let's try Blazing Lasers. So I have heard reports of some games, the emulation not being the best. I don't know if this is one of those games or not, but I'm really not noticing any issues. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I mean, it seems to be playing good to me. It'd be nice if there was a frames per second counter that could really tell you how fast it is running, but it seems to be running full speed to me. And turn on the turbo buttons. The Crt filter, I don't know if you can tell that's on right now, but that kind of gives it that retro TV look. Oh, just heard something there. The sound got a little weird. So I just noticed that sound got a little bit distorted sounding when there was a bunch of things happening on the screen at the same time. Those audio issues is the only thing I've noticed so far with the gameplay. Everything else has been working really well. Alright, let's try a different game out. Kadash. That does not get old at all. I really like how it does that with the games. That's one thing I really like about the TurboGrafx-16 when it came out, is how much color depth it had. It had a lot of different colors happening on the screen at the same time, which made for some awesome looking games. I remember being so impressed with this console when it first came out. It was actually on display right next to an original Nintendo, and I thought it just blew it away. Alright, let's get back to the main menu. Yeah. Oh, what else here? Try some Victory Run. Doesn't feel like I'm going very fast though. I gotta switch gears. Ah, I gotta change gears. I gotta push down. There we go. Now we're going fast. Let's see if we can get this up to 200 before I wreck. It's not looking good. Come on, 200. We got this. Got it. And I wrecked. Try some Bonk's Revenge. So I don't think I ever had Bonk on the original TurboGrafx-16. The first time I played it was actually on the Wii Virtual Console. And ever since then, I've been a fan of Bonk. Oh, I don't want to get smashed, but crap! No! Alright. Jeez. No! Made it. Now he's mad. I guess this is equivalent to getting a star in Mario. And that's the end of the round. I will definitely be playing this some more. Let's go ahead and save this. Okay, let's check out the PC Engine. Oh, that's cool. It changed my artwork for everything. It changed it to the PC Engine on the top and bottom for the console art. And then I got a new list of games here. So let's try Gradius. So this was actually a CD-ROM game, as it's demonstrating right there. Oh, and even made a CD-ROM noise. That was cool. There's a lot of extra things that they've added for this console, and I really like those extra touches. So I'm not noticing any issues with this game. The gameplay on this seems to be working just like it should. And this is probably... Let's try out Superstar Soldier. So that's awesome that there's 32 PC Engine games on here. However, some of the games will not have an English translation, so it might make them hard to play. That's one thing that's really popular in Japan is a lot of shooting games. So this seems very similar to Blazing Lasers. Remember, I did have a couple audio issues when playing that game. So far with this game, I'm not noticing any issues at all. And there's quite a bit happening on the screen right now, so I think if it was going to happen, it would already have happened. Let's try Fantasy Zone. I really like the sound effects on this game. It's very satisfying. Now, I have played this game before. I haven't played it a whole lot. But it does have some very cool artwork, and it does feel like you're in a fantasy. It is cool. Alright, it's time for the Kung Fu. Yeah, I believe this is called China Warrior for the TurboGrafx-16, and I did have this game back in the day. I remember being blown away by the graphics in this game, and I thought that guy looked just like Bruce Lee, which I was a huge fan of. And what blew me away was the size of the character. In most of the games back then, your guys were really little and didn't have that many pixels to them. This guy's giant. The music in this game is pretty good too, especially when you get to the bosses. Oh, he got me. Got me with the palm strike. I don't think I'm going to get this guy. The boss beat me. Try some Ninja Ryu Kenden. I have no idea how you pronounce it. Crazy how small he looks after playing that other game. This is normally how big your characters would be. So here's my overall thoughts with this mini console that's not so mini. It is a little bit pricey for $100. To me, I feel it's well worth it, especially if you're a fan of the TurboGrafx-16 and the PC Engine. And again, I think the menu is really awesome. It's definitely inspired by the Nintendo Classic Edition and the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, but so what? Those menus are awesome, and this one is too. Now, I did notice some small emulation issues when playing the game Blazing Lasers. It did have some audio stutter, but I did not notice any other issues when playing any other games, although I've not played every game yet. So I feel very satisfied with my purchase, and I really don't see a reason why anyone would be disappointed with this mini console. Besides the fact that it's not so many, that might bother some people out there. And one cool thing about this TurboGrafx-16 controller is since it is USB powered, this will work on a wide variety of different devices. I have used this with RetroPie, and it works great. So if you're looking to play some games on some other consoles, this controller might work out for your needs. Okay, it's time for me to get out of here. If you liked this video, if you could, hit that like button, and have yourself a great day. And I think I'm going to go ahead and play some more games on here.